I'm ready whenever you are, Buckaroo.
Is that my new nickname?
I don't know. It just happens.
That really threw me off guard.
You never know what happens in the Cortexmas season.
Mm-hmm. Okay. That's not going to be in the show, I don't think.
Whatever.
All right, ready?
I'm ready. Yeah, we can start the show a second time. We can pretend like we didn't just try to start it.
Okay.
Go right ahead, Myke.
All right, well, we found the start in there somewhere, didn't we? I just celebrated a milestone. I've been self-employed for 5 years now, as of like a couple of weeks ago.
Holy moly.
Isn't that crazy?
That is really crazy. I cannot believe it's been that long.
It's gone by very fast.
Like I remember hearing, before we knew each other, I remember hearing you announce that on a podcast of yore. But I can't believe that's 5 years ago.
Yep, that was when you emailed me and said, let's have lunch, and then look what happened.
Yeah. Wow. How do you feel about that? As 5 years of self-employment is a big freaking deal.
It's an interesting thing because I already celebrated 5 years of my company, right? Like a couple of months ago.
Yeah.
So this one snuck up on me. Like I saw in my calendar a couple of weeks before, I was like, oh, anniversary of self-employment. I was like, oh yeah, these things go hand in hand, right? Like I hadn't really put that in my mind. And so the main thing that I have been thinking about is how different I am and how different my life is now. It doesn't feel like I have been doing what I do for 5 years, because 5 years seems like a really long time, and it doesn't feel like it's been a really long time.
Yeah.
But when I think back to working in the bank, either like especially when I go back to thinking about what it was like working in the bank branches, but I'll come back to that.
Yeah.
But like when I think about working,
Bank Myke.
yeah,
I forgot
bank manager
that guy.
boy. When I think back to like working in marketing at the bank, it's like that feels like a lifetime ago. But it doesn't feel like I've been, when I think just focus on being self-employed and running this company, like 5 years seems like it's very fast. But then when I do think back to working in the branches of the bank and working with customers and managing people and all that stuff, genuinely now, that feels like it wasn't even me.
Yeah, you crossed one of those boundaries.
It feels like I have the memory of somebody else. Because it seems so far away from me now that I'm detached from it. And like, I don't know if this is a thing that happens to people like when they get past 30. Like, I don't know if this is a thing or if it's just my particular circumstances. But like, I'm now at a point where like I have memories that feel like somebody else's memories.
Yeah, I don't think that's an age thing.
It's just because I've had such wild changes in my career, right? I guess.
Yeah. I think there's two parts of it, which is that your life is just so radically different now. And I also just think some personality types are more or less sensitive to this experience of, oh, these memories aren't mine. Like some people seem to never experience that. Some people seem to experience it quite acutely. And I think you just hit that intersection of, yeah, like when I think of all the stuff that you and Relay have done over the last 5 years, it's a very different situation than if you had changed jobs and were like not self-employed. You might feel like more of a coherent, consistent person with the you from 5 years ago. Yeah, but it is a real abrupt change that's happened. So
I think I had two big changes, right? Like moving into that marketing role was a very big change for me because I was completely inexperienced in that type of work, right? Like it was a different field. I just happened to work in the same company, and then I changed field completely again. So like I've done that enough times that it just feels so removed now because it's so different to what I started out doing in life.
I think it's really charming that you have it in your calendar you put it in there to mark off the anniversaries. I
have like wedding anniversary, dating anniversary, but I also have like the day we bought our house. You know? So you can not mark those things off. I'm surprised. Do you not have that sort of stuff in your calendar?
No, I mean, I have.
That's wild to me because you have so much stuff in the calendar anyway. Like when I'm on vacation, you put that in your calendar.
Yes, that's true. Yeah.
So I'm surprised that you don't have like big life moments in there as well, because you don't mind about overfilling it.
I know, but I don't know. I think that would overfill it, but also I don't know. I tend not to think that way. I do have like my anniversary is in the calendar, like that kind of stuff.
You don't want to forget that one.
You don't want to forget that one. It just never occurred to me to put in those sorts of events.
Well, do you know when it was though?
I'd have to go back and
you see, that's why I don't want to have to do that, right? I just want to open my calendar and search self-employment and find it.
I mean, that's fair enough. I also think that my situation was just a little bit different in that it was a much more spread out and vague kind of thing in the way teaching schedules work. But,
oh, that's a good point. I am approaching my 10th year podcasting. April 10th, 2020. I have been podcasting for a decade.
Okay, see, this is where, all right, like, I'm now imagining that, like, your calendar is going to be very full of all of these.
No, that's just committed to memory, that one.
Oh, okay, that's not on the calendar. I'm surprised. Why isn't that one not on the calendar?
At the time, it didn't feel monumental, right?
Mm-hmm. Right.
Like when I started podcasting, it wasn't like,
oh, that's true. Yeah, in the moment, you're not thinking of this as a big event. It's more like I'm just messing around and I'm experimenting with something.
Although I am now making sure I put podcasting decade in the calendar.
Okay, so that is
so I don't forget that.
Yeah, but this is where, in my mind, I am now envisioning your calendar like if you go and look up the official list of holiday days, every day is marking of something or other on the calendar.
National Pancake Day, National Hug Day.
Exactly. And this feels like Myke in 10 years will have a calendar where almost every day is remarked upon as the anniversary of some special event.
That's a lot of achievements.
You know what? It is a lot of achievements.
So that would be good.
Do you have Cortex launch day in there?
No, but I know when it was roughly.
I think you should put Cortex launch day in there. You don't want to have to look it up.
That's
you don't
true.
want to have to figure it out.
Yeah, that's silly, isn't it? We're approaching 5 years of this show. It's like next summer.
No, don't say that. That's not true.
Okay.
I think we're closing in on episode 10, so we can figure out if we want to keep doing it or not.
We definitely not have been recording this show for 5 years on June the 3rd, 2020.
Jesus Christ. Yeah, that's not a thing. So yeah, don't that one you can leave off the calendar.
Yeah.
I think it's charming, and I think it's sweet that you put in the important life events. That is fun. I can see that as being fun. But yeah, congratulations on 5 years of being self-employed. It's a big deal. It's a really big deal.
That's very kind of you. I wonder if I have... Oh, yeah, I have the date that we first went to lunch.
Well, you would have that in as an appointment, right?
Yeah.
Or do you celebrate our lunch anniversary every year without
I might
me?
start doing that now. It was December 4th. Oh, that was December 4th, 2014.
Okay.
So that's like a big day to celebrate.
Right. Is that our anniversary, Myke?
That's our anniversary, yeah.
I don't think I'm going to be putting that one on the calendar.
I'm putting it in. Myke and Grade's anniversary.
Okay.
It's in the calendar now. Repeat every year, forever.
Okay. I'm getting uncomfortable with that forever.
Don't worry about it, you know?
Always trying to work in the forever.
The date will always be forever, right?
Okay.
There's nothing you can do about that.
Yeah.
We can celebrate. It can be celebrated every year.
There's nothing you can do about that thin end of the wedge. Nothing you can do about it at all. Just pay no attention to it. Yeah. Forever.
This episode of Cortex is made possible in part thanks to Squarespace. You can make your next move with Squarespace. They let you easily create a website for your next idea or project. Squarespace gives you all of the tools that you're going to need to put your work online. If you need a domain name, you can get it with Squarespace. If you need to customize award-winning templates, they have it there for you. And oh boy, are they fantastic. Squarespace gives you the tools in their templates to build about any website you're looking for. Whether you're going to make a blog, a portfolio, maybe a site for an event, or even have an online store. They're beautifully customizable, really easy to tinker around with and make look just the way you want, so your work feels at home with Squarespace. They are an all-in-one platform that will let you take care of anything you need. There is nothing to install, patch, or upgrade. They have got you covered and back it up with 24/7 customer support. Squarespace plans start at just $12 a month, but you can go to squarespace.com/Cortex and start a free trial with no credit card required. When you decide to sign up, use the offer code Cortex and you'll get 10% off your first purchase of a website or domain and show your support for this show. Once again, that's squarespace.com/Cortex and the code Cortex for 10% off your first purchase. Our thanks to Squarespace for the support of this show and all of Relay FM. Squarespace, make your next move, make your next website. I bought a pop socket case.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I hope you didn't buy the one that I thought was terrible.
I don't think I did. So there was this selection of cases that went up on Apple's website.
What the fuck is this link?
No, don't look at that yet. No, close that tab. We're not there yet.
I'm sorry.
Close that tab.
This link.
We're coming to that in a minute, all right? Close that one. We have something else to talk about, and we're coming back to that. All right? We're not there yet. Shush. You're ruining it. You see, I shouldn't put the links in the document. I should, if I want to surprise you with these
if you don't
things.
want me to click the links, don't put them in in our shared document.
That's
I thought, you bought a pop socket case. Let me see what one it is.
Click the link above that one. The one apple.com/something.
I thought that was the one I did click. Oh, I wasn't paying attention.
You didn't.
I clicked the wrong
Right,
thing.
so I bought one of these cases, the Otterbox Figura and Pop Series case.
Okay. This is less funny.
It's less funny. This is more like I bought this and would like to provide follow-up because we've been talking about these, right? This is a much better looking case than the ones we were looking at before.
It is. This one looks better. What do you think about it?
It is basically the Apple silicone case with a pop socket mount on the back.
Okay, I'm intrigued.
So I have it. The only downside that I have found, which I got over very easily, is the kind of lip of the case goes all the way around.
Oh, you mean on the bottom one, on the bottom lip. Okay.
And on Apple's cases, it's not on the bottom. And I was worried that was going to get in the way of performing the swiping gestures, but it hasn't. So I've got this, and you can swap out the pop socket, right? So like I put the pop socket that I like on the back.
Oh, it's their removable one?
Yeah. I got it to work with wireless charging once.
Right, yeah, this is the thing.
But it doesn't work consistently.
Yeah, like I said, I'm convinced the tolerance is within the amount of thermal expansion that happens as the battery warms up.
Yeah.
It's like we are talking microns of difference in distance, and if your phone is just a little bit warmer, it's too thick.
The Qi charger that I have was one of like the first ones that came out with the iPhone. So I don't know if maybe more modern Qi chargers would perform better at that.
Yeah. This is my number one request for, I don't know, Qi Incorporated or whoever's in charge of this, but like distance, guys. The only thing I care about is distance. Power, zero interest. Distance, infinite interest.
What I want Apple to do is, or any phone, I don't know if this must not be possible because I've never seen a phone do this. I want the charging to work with the phone face down.
Why?
Because then I can do whatever I want case-wise, and at night, I want to put my phone face down anyway.
Oh, okay. I see what you're saying.
Right?
Right.
Like, I want it to work both sides of the phone. That's what I would like, but I assume it's like impossible to do. Like, you can't put that technology behind the screen would be my assumption. But like, ideally, that is what I would want, is that I can just put the phone down on the Qi charger, and then I don't have to worry about all this pop socket nonsense or case nonsense or anything.
Yeah, my guess is it has to do with the again, like the physics of how the wireless charging works. That you don't want the alternating magnetic fields to be passing through all the electronics that actually make up the phone. I'm going to guess there's some kind of shielding on the other side of the charger to save the internal electronics. That is like, it's not the screen that's blocking it; it's the phone itself. Like, you don't want to be charging across those electronics. That's my guess.
Yeah.
If I had to like bet money on it, I think you would literally never get that. Like, it's just not going to happen.
I assume so too, because otherwise it's like I've never seen a phone that does it, so there's got to be a reason.
The reason could just be the distance. The thickness of the phone is too far.
Yeah.
Combined with interference, but I would suspect that it's actually like a physics reason why. But that's why I still just want distance, and I want centimeters, not millimeters of distance here. Qi Inc. Get on that. All right. So listen.
Now you can click the second link.
No, but before we click the second link, pop socket placement. Is it too low? It looks low.
Okay. It is slightly lower.
Okay.
But it is not so much that it's became a problem for me. The only thing is when the phone is put down on the desk, it ever so slightly leans towards the camera side, But with the Pro Max, I don't know what it's like with the regular Pro. The case isn't touching the table. It's just like leans a little bit towards one side.
Okay, I'm gonna give it a try.
I like it.
Yeah.
So, but also, these are in the stores. I bought it from the Covent Garden store in London, so you can just go and look at it and like put your phone in it if you want.
Myke,
and get all the germs.
Myke, that would require me to leave my house.
Yeah,
right?
you've got a real problem with this.
Which is not going to happen.
At some point, we need to have a discussion about this like not leaving the house thing you've got going on.
How would you like to get your order? I'll pick it up. I'd like it delivered. I'd like it delivered, Apple. I don't know why you're even asking. Click, click, click.
Boy. Now you can click the other link.
Okay, I've already clicked the other link, though.
I saw this a couple of days ago. I have no idea why this product exists. So, pop sockets now, you can remove the tops of them, right? So it's either into a case or the adhesive thing there. You twist it off and you pull it off, but the mount remains. Mm-hmm. Pop Socket have made a case for AirPods. So you can attach the AirPods to a pop socket mount. So you can have your AirPods on the back of your phone. I don't know why this exists.
So this is what I was laughing uproariously at before, because it was just so surprising. And the picture is extra funny. Like the framing of the picture makes it look ridiculous that that you have your AirPods case will like click into the back of your phone where the pop socket would be. But the more I look at it, I wonder how good of a handle the AirPods case might actually make for the phone. Like maybe it's not as crazy as it first seems.
Buy one then and let me know, because no one else is going to do it.
No, I'm not going to be the first mover here, but it just was so surprising. It made me really laugh. But I'm looking at it and going, maybe it's not crazy. Maybe this is less ridiculous than it seems.
Yeah, I think this is crazy.
You think it's crazy?
I think this is wild to have your AirPods become a pop socket.
Yeah, I don't know. Like,
no, I don't like.
Maybe this can start a trend where you attach devices to other devices.
Right.
So you could make, like, your phone could become the pop socket for your iPad. They could make a case. They could make a pop socket that would work that way.
And your iPad is like a pop socket for your iMac.
Yeah. Actually, that's a good idea. I think that could work.
That's it. There's the ergonomics we've been looking for.
I've always wanted to be able to pick up my computer in a more convenient way. And by gripping my iPad on the back of it, that's the solution I've been looking for.
Talking about the AirPods, I want to stumble into a quick Cortec with you.
Okay.
Because there's been a bunch of Apple products, and I want to get like a kind of idea from you, yay or nay on them.
Okay.
AirPods Pro, have you tried those?
Oh, bought them immediately.
Aren't they fantastic?
Yeah.
Oh, you know what? Let me say that. I shouldn't suppose this. You are a big noise cancelling person.
Yeah.
What do you think of the noise cancelling?
Okay, AirPods Pro, I really like them. And I have to say, we do complain about Apple a lot, like in things that are frustrating.
Because they have had a terrible year in a lot of departments.
In a lot of departments, they've had a really bad software year. I think it's interesting because I'm really aware that this year has also been a release of a lot of like small quality of life improvements in the software. I feel like there's a lot of little things that you sort of don't notice until you look at the old stuff, where it's like, oh, there's been a lot of improvement across a lot of little things. But there's also been enormous software disasters, right? So I feel like it's been a real mixed bag this year. But the AirPods Pro, their little thing where you can hold the stem of the headphone and it switches from transparency mode to noise canceling mode, that is Apple at its best.
Yes.
It makes the little chime sound.
Yep. And it's also clicking. That's like an artificial click. Did you know that?
Yeah, you can. Yeah, it does that like clunk sound, or like
it's like
I
little,
cannot reproduce the sound.
Okay.
That's it. Well done there, Myke. That's really good.
I provided the original sound bite. That's why.
Oh, that's why it matches so well.
Fascinating, right?
Yeah, but so I've been trying these out on my sole excursions from the house to go to the gym, and being on the street and then switching that on and putting the noise canceling on, it really provides this subjective feeling like the world is fading away. That's what is like Apple at its best.
Oh,
and
it's so nice.
The chime, the little click, it's I know this is good. Okay, this is going to sound a million times overblown.
Cool.
But I think it's the first consumer-facing experience that is a little bit like augmented reality.
No, I've heard other people saying this kind of thing too, so I don't think that you're too far away, right? Like, because the transparency mode where it lets noise in, it's not real.
Yeah.
They are manipulating the sound that comes to you to highlight some things and lower some other things. So it's creating something which is not real, but you're experiencing the world in a different way.
Yeah, and it's just like that turn on noise canceling has this effect of I've pressed a button and it provides this illusion of modifying the world outside my brain. I'm like big on noise canceling, and I've had other headphones that do like an equivalent of transparency mode or that let you hear stuff. The previous ones that were probably the best were like the latest Sony whatever terrible name headphones.
Yeah, the over ears, right?
Yeah, like they work, but it doesn't give you the illusion of I'm listening to the outside world and then I've turned the outside world down. Like it wasn't quite convincing enough. Whereas these have crossed a threshold of convincingness that it does provide this like this illusion of I have affected the world around me. And that's why it made me think of AR. Like, I would never have expected to have this feeling like we're all waiting for the AR glasses, right? We all know this is in our future.
Don't want it.
Okay, well, whatever. But this is where like it's snuck in through this other sensory experience that I wouldn't have expected. So I think that's really interesting. So I really like them, and they are going to replace my regular AirPods immediately. But I'm not going to use them for the thing that I was originally buying them for, which is what headphones do I want to use at the gym? And I got the Power Beats Pro, the other one that Apple makes.
They're probably better for the gym because they have that little hook over the ear, right?
Yeah. I like those better for the gym, even though they don't have noise canceling. They do well enough to like muffle the outside gym sounds, and they're just more solid in my head. AirPods Pro, they're pretty good for being solid in my head, but I prefer the Power Beats for the gym. So I'm sticking with those as my gym headphones. But the AirPods Pro are replacing my regular ones.
You going to try the AirPods on planes?
I mean, I'll try them because I'll always have them with me. But I do really like the Sony over-ear headphones. I mean, I haven't done like a side-by-side test, but I'm willing to bet that the over-ear headphones... I don't know how to put this. Like, I don't know who would win in a hands-down noise-canceling competition, but I feel like over-ear headphones like the Sony headphones they're more like psychologically isolating, and what I want is like I'm working on a thing or I'm just doing like
you are also signaling to other people in a much more effective way.
Yeah, maybe that's what it is. Maybe it's like the over-ear headphones augment my reality by telling people to leave me the hell alone,
or at least that they know they can't speak to you immediately.
Yeah,
they have to get your attention first. Maybe that's the thing for you. I don't know.
Yeah, so I don't know. Like, I don't know. Have you left your house and traveled in the world?
Oh yeah,
okay.
I've been on public transport. I've taken plane journeys with them.
Oh, okay.
And they are replacing all of the headphones that I own.
Wow.
I didn't have any noise canceling headphones.
Are you wearing them right now while we're podcasting, Myke?
Oh, except my podcasting headphones.
Okay, so they're not replacing.
That's a very good. I'm very pleased you said that because a million people would have asked me that question. So I'm really happy that you said
How are
it.
you using the AirPods Pro to podcast?
It would be possible, but you shouldn't do it.
Yeah,
because there'd be latency and the little leakages. But anyway,
yeah. Let he who has not podcast using AirPods cast the first stone there, right? We've all had to do it under some circumstances.
I've never done it. I would love to actually try and see what it's like to podcast with noise cancellation on.
I don't recommend it. I don't recommend it at all.
Oh, you've tried it?
I am wearing my Sony headphones right now. I always wear them when I'm doing podcasting, and I do not turn on the noise cancellation.
I'm too in your brain at that point.
Yeah, and it also, at least I find that the effect, if you are talking, but also hearing yourself through noise canceling headphones, there's something that your brain does where you're like trying to compensate for how you think your voice should sound. So it leads to like a kind of vocal strain.
I want to try this now.
Okay.
I'm sure it's going to be weird, but now I just want to try it.
Okay.
But I really like when I go on the tube or whatever, and it's noisy, and I can just dunk and just make it all go away. I really like that.
Yeah, the ability to switch between those two modes is really killer.
Yeah.
So they're fantastic headphones.
It was way better on a plane. Worked really well on the plane. I didn't have to have my volume. I have my volume like halfway, right? But I usually have it maximum with my old AirPods, which is bad for the ears, obviously. And as well, these are like the first pair of noise cancelling headphones that has worked with me. Noise cancelling has made me feel like nauseous in the past.
Oh yeah, that's right. You're one of those poor souls who can't deal with it.
But this is fine. This is working great for me. Maybe it's because it's not so aggressive. I don't know, or like isolating. I don't know what it is exactly that's made it work, but it's totally working. So,
that's interesting to hear.
I assume that technology is always getting improved, and maybe I've never tried those Sonys that everybody loves, and like maybe they would work okay for me. But the AirPods are doing a really great job. I'm very, very happy with them actually. I still have an issue. I've always had an issue with the in-ears. Like my left ear, the headphone will eventually fall out, and that's happening. Like it doesn't matter what size tip I wear, it will eventually always come out. But I just adjust it like every 20, 25 minutes. Like it's not a big problem, right? So I really like them. Have you seen the 16-inch MacBook Pro?
Yeah. I know this is a thing that exists in the world. And
okay.
Everyone's very excited about it.
Well, I know that you are a MacBook Pro user, have been in the past, and I just wondered, is this a product that you think would work for you?
I'm holding out for an update to the smaller laptops.
Right.
I mentioned on the show a little while ago, but I bought a 15-inch, I don't know, 2 years ago or something. Partly when I was really in the throes of trying to finish off that Tesla vlog, and I was also traveling at the same time. I was like, I need the most powerful computer money can buy that I can also travel with me, and I also need a big screen for editing this video. I do like the bigger screens, but I don't like the bigger laptops. I just find the trade-offs are not for me. I don't like the hassle of carrying around the extra weight, and I also find like the ergonomics of the length of the computer and where the keyboard is are just slightly wrong, so that my wrists are always like hitting the edge in a way that I don't like. So I think like the 15-inch and then probably the new 16-inch are like amazing machines, but they're just not for me. And then when you add on top of that Sidecar, the ability to have like your big iPad be a second screen, like I'm totally in on using a smaller laptop in the future. So I've been using one of my smaller, slower, older laptops if I don't absolutely need like all the power for something. And that plus iPad a second screen is totally amazing. So I've got my fingers crossed for Apple revising the smaller one.
They will
in the nearish term future, but we'll see.
I reckon it will happen in June if it hasn't happened already. There's apparently some Intel chips that are coming, which would be the perfect candidate for a refresh to the MacBook Pro. And so it would be expected that they would probably, at that point, whenever those chips are ready, which should be sometime in the spring to summer, I think, is my understanding, that they would update the 16 again with these new chips and introduce a 14, maybe, if that's going to exist.
Yeah. Okay. That's good to know. Yeah, because I just think what I first discovered back in the old Adorable days is that my ideal traveling setup is really big iPad, small laptop. Like that's what I want if I'm going to be on the road. And so that's big iPad plus big computer is like, oh, this is too much. I can't deal with this. I might as well start bringing around a whole like LG monitor with me if I'm carrying all that stuff.
Yeah, I would like them to put the new keyboard in the MacBook Air.
I forgot about the MacBook Air.
That's what I would want.
Okay. I mean, they've got to be rolling out that new keyboard to everything.
Eventually,
right?
they will. You would assume eventually.
I think you'll get your wish on that.
The Mac Pro's coming in December.
Okay, are you going to get one?
No, I'm not going to get one.
Of course not, because you just got your iMac Pro.
I have
That's
my
why.
iMac Pro. Are you going to get one?
I
We've had a lot of time to think since your original excitement in June.
Look. Okay, you're also reframing this. I was excited about that screen, right?
Well, yeah, okay.
That screen is calling to me.
Well, that was going to be my next question. So
look, you can't ask me this because my whole world is in flux, okay? And so since I gave up the glass cube, I've compressed down 2 offices just into my home office, and ultimately I do want to be in a situation where I leave the house again. And so I want to have an office outside my home, But then that brings up like every question in the world about what does the work setup look like?
Well, you want to buy the computer that has wheels on it.
What does what does the monitor setup look like? Which, as far as I know, I haven't investigated, but I still think Apple hasn't released any actual information about what computers can possibly drive that beautiful screen.
Okay, so there's like tidbits, right? One thing that we know
that's not what we're looking
is
for.
that the new MacBook Pro can power 2 of those.
Oh, okay.
So that's a new piece of information.
That is a new piece of information. Okay. Look, I'm trying not to think about this, but also earlier today I was just thinking there was for a project I'm working on, I was looking at a selection of color palettes. And like this little devil in my brain, this
isn't accurate enough.
Yeah, that's exactly it. This devil in my brain was whispering, "Are you seeing the colors as they really are?" And it's like, I don't know, man. How would I be able to know? And it's like, well, I believe there's going to be a monitor that would let you understand exactly how orange this shade of orange is. Because I'm looking at like 5 different shades of orange. Like, which one do I like the most?
I would like to make a request. If you buy this screen, can I come over the day you get it? Just to look at it?
The day I get it. You can look at it, but you can't touch it, obviously. If I get
unless you get the nano texture one.
And then you doubly
it is
can't
full
touch
of
it.
like shards of glass or whatever it is they're doing. Yeah, then I definitely can't touch it.
Yeah, so look, I can't even, because I don't even know. And this, so like asking me about future computers is asking me about what does my office look like, which is asking me about what is my travel set, like what is the rotation for like there's too many. This is a gigantic ball of yarn, and my position here is basically hold, like nothing is going to happen until hopefully Apple releases a smaller laptop, and then I'll start trying to make decisions about, okay, what does my world look like?
So you're going to let the monitor just exist in the world?
Look, I'm saying my plan is just hold until smaller laptop. Those are the words I said.
Yeah.
And that's the end of this.
So there'll be no Pro Display XDR in your home. What if like they say, "Oh, work with the iPad too"?
Look, I'm not doing this. We're not playing these theoretical games.
Okay. Well, we'll play the real game in a few weeks' time. Last thing.
Yeah.
They released the battery case for the 11 Pro.
Oh, yes. Okay, I'm buying another case right now. Fantastic.
Let me tell you something weird about this case, Gray.
Okay.
It has a dedicated camera shutter button.
What?
Yeah. It features a button.
Wait, what?
That launches the camera app whether the iPhone is locked or unlocked. A quick press of the button will take a photo. A longer press takes a video.
Where is it? Wait, okay, hold on.
Exactly.
I've already got my app open. Where is this button? I don't see a button.
It's on
There's no button.
You have to look at the images.
I'm looking at the images.
If you look at the one that shows you the back.
Okay.
On the left-hand side, there's like a little indentation. There's a button there.
Oh, sneaky.
How weird, right?
That's a freaking great idea, though. Because I was just complaining yesterday about how much I cannot get used to the new way to take a freaking photo on my phone. The lack of 3D touch is killing me.
It's the worst.
For like getting to pictures on the lock screen, I just can't. I'm having such a hard time retraining my brain to like swipe over or long hold. It's killing me.
Yeah, I don't like.
I want a dedicated button on the physical phone. iPhone 12. You listening to me? Physical camera button.
This is my hope
on the phone.
Because why did they do this? Is such a weird thing to do. So by the time this episode comes out, my case, probably both our cases will have arrived. So like mine is on the way. It's coming tomorrow. But this is just like an interesting thing to me. It's like, okay, put the camera button on there, I guess. Like, it works really well for me because I only ever use the battery case when I'm traveling, and when I'm traveling is when I take the most photos.
As we discussed before, new battery life on the new phones.
Amazing.
Fantastic, right? It's really great. But heavily using the phone, you're still going to really burn through it. Like my previous footnote video that I did for the video about Mercury being the closest planet. So I shot that entirely using my iPhone. And it's like, let me tell you, even with an amazing battery, an afternoon of walking around and talking and shooting 4K video, it's like you are going to get real close to the end of the battery. And so that is exactly the case where, yes, I would want more battery. I want this new battery case. And if the battery case comes with a dedicated camera button, all the better. It's like, this is a professional solution. So
what a treat.
Yeah.
50% longer battery life is what it gives you.
Yeah, that sold.
Like
Immediately.
another 5 hours, I guess, on the 11 Pro.
Yeah, but even like 50% more battery then totally puts I'm shooting a video all afternoon on my phone in well within the margin of comfort for I don't have to think about the battery, which is always what I'm trying to optimize for. Like, just don't have to think about it. That's great. Wow, thank you for bringing me these things, Myke.
This is just a personal news update for you.
This is the way I like my news. Other people telling me the things that matter to me. That's great.
It's wonderful.
Yeah, this is how I want my personalized news from an actual person.
Okay, that's what's the most personalized.
Yes, thank you.
This episode of Cortex is brought to you by Eero. If you want to binge watch your favorite TV shows from anywhere in the house without interruption, you need Eero. Eero will blanket your whole home in fast, reliable Wi-Fi, eliminating poor coverage, dead spots, and buffering, so you can have consistently strong signal whenever you need it, and wherever you need it. I have seen this firsthand. Eero will take a home and blanket it with lovely, fast-performing Wi-Fi. You're going to get your best speeds of Eero, no matter where you're going to be in your home, whether it's in the front room, the garden. Trust me, Eero is going to cover that space. Eero is the Wi-Fi that your home deserves. There's an all-new Eero starting at just $99, and it sets up in just minutes. You just plug it straight into your modem or router box. You can even manage it from this super simple app, which is really great. It lets you do cool stuff like pause the Wi-Fi where everybody's eating dinner, and you'll get alerts if any device tries to join your network. Eero is going to fix all of your Wi-Fi problems. Trust me on that one. No more dead spots, no more buffering. It is really, really awesome stuff. You can get your Wi-Fi fixed as soon as tomorrow by going to eero.com/Cortex and using the code Cortex at checkout to get free overnight shipping with your order. That's eero.com/Cortex and the code Cortex at checkout to get your Eero delivered with free overnight shipping. You got to use that URL, and so I'll give you it one more time, eero.com/Cortex and the code Cortex to get the offer. Our thanks to Eero for their support of this show and Relay FM. It's time for some hashtag Ask Cortex questions, Gray. I petitioned our listeners on Twitter.
AskCortex.com. Oh, wait, no, that's wrong. I'm sorry. I misfired.
Oh, now I have to get that. I'll buy that domain. I don't know where I'm going to point it, but the first question I have picked to right or wrong. So Vlad asks, would you give us an updated everyday carry list? Now, the wrong that I am writing is a few episodes ago. There was a question the last time we did Ask Cortex where someone was asking about like where we carry things.
Right.
And then we got lost on a tangent of talking about your pockets.
Right.
And we never got your answer for where things go.
Yes, because you were too busy making fun of me.
Yes.
For the simple fact that when I'm traveling, I like to be prepared for things.
You like to be pocketed. Well pocketed.
You found this a hilarious notion.
It is hilarious.
For reasons that I'm still not able to understand.
Like a tactical nerd or something. You're just like ready for anything. So I will ask you then, what do you have on your person every day and where does it go?
Well, I believe that we settled last time. There's only 4 items. There's iPhone, wallet, keys, AirPods. Those are the 4 items. That's the way that works. So that's my everyday carry list. And that's your everyday carry list.
But the thing that wasn't answered previously is what pockets? I'm making sure we cover every base now.
Oh, yeah? You want to make sure that we're covering absolutely every base?
Yeah, because you're calling me out in the Reddit over it. I saw you.
I don't remember. I have no memory of this. That was a very long time ago. It doesn't sound like something I would do. Okay, so iPhone, front left pocket, because I'm right-handed. So you use your phone with your left hand. That's the way handedness works, Myke.
Wait, what?
Yeah. Everybody who's right-handed
so we settled
use their phones with their left hand.
We can agree I'm left-handed because I use my phone in my right hand. Thank you. Now it's done. We've closed the loop now. Yeah. You have now, by proxy, agreed that I am left-handed. So thank you for that.
Handedness is a very simple matter. And so that's the way that works.
I'm pleased that we finally came to a conclusion on the left-hand debate.
I don't understand why there'd be any disagreement or confusion over this issue.
I have my phone in my front right pocket.
Right.
And I use my phone right-handed.
Right, yeah. So you're left-handed then.
Whew.
So then front right pocket is keys and it's wallet. So now AirPods case. Where does AirPods case go? So I have settled on jeans that are now the only jeans that I wear. And for the benefit of Myke, I will call them tactical jeans. And these tactical jeans have a special pocket on the side, which for the purposes of this podcast, we will say is a dedicated AirPods pocket and is for absolutely nothing else.
What do you put in that pocket? Do you have like smoke pellets that you can use to get away with? You know, like.
No, but so I always like to try to find what do the professionals use, and there are tactical professionals.
What professionals?
You know, just professional AirPods professionals, and so there's a special pocket on the side.
That's what they're called.
And
AirPods professionals.
Yes, that's right. And so, because I used to keep AirPods in the back pocket, which was fine.
That's weird. That's weird.
It like, if you put them in the back pocket, I found that you could like slide them over to the side, and it was fine. Right?
I go in my front left pocket with my keys, and then my wallet goes in my back right pocket.
Right. Yeah.
All
that's
left
also
pocket,
that's
no
perfectly
pickpocket.
fine.
Who knows which pocket it goes in? Left, right, maybe none of them. Leave me alone.
Yeah, you're really divulging your security here, Myke. Right? Security through obscurity. This is the moment. Which pocket is Mike's wallet in?
Maybe I don't. Maybe I have a secret tactical pocket. You don't know.
Yeah, nobody knows. But yeah, so that's the pocket placement for Gray.
Tactical pocket. Jonathan asks, if Cortex brand could make anything it wanted without any difficulties in production, what would it be?
Oh, I mean, I guess it would make all of the solutions to all of my problems in life.
Well, that's like the larger answer, right? Like,
right? Yeah.
If we could make whatever we wanted, we would make everything we wanted. You know?
Yeah. My whole life would just be Cortex brand. That would be
that's
cool.
The ultimate goal,
right?
Yeah.
all the way down to the computer in front of me.
Because I will say, computer. Like, maybe as an interesting update for the state of our company at the moment. Where we are right now at the end of 2019, Cortex brand has taken on a very different product offering than what I was initially, I think what we were both initially expecting.
Yes.
We have become very, very focused on the theme system because it's been going great for us. And we have not been able to explore as many other things as we wanted to because
that's totally true. Yeah.
We have a success which has been successful faster than we would have expected. So at some point, I want to get back to exploring other products. But right now, we are very focused on theme system.
I would say there's two things became very clear very quickly. That all processes have like a bottleneck. And I think the bottleneck is your attention, your time and attention right now is like, that is the valuable resource for the company.
And maybe we will talk about that soon.
Yes. And it's also very clear that doubling down or like quintupling down on the theme journal was the obvious way to go. Just like that the reaction to it was really positive. And so it's like, okay, obvious win, limited resource, spend all of the limited resource on the obvious valuable thing. Like that, that's the way to go. Like our plans to expand into Cortex OS have to be delayed.
Please
that's like
don't.
on the 2040 roadmap.
Please don't. So the email address that we have, right, where people send suggestions, which is business@cortexbrand.com. Still, please continue sending them in if you have ideas. More than anything, I have had people ask about software. I don't want to make software right now.
Yeah.
Because apps, that is a difficult business to be in for it to be profitable with the limited time and attention that we can put in that field.
Yeah.
The obvious answer, right, that people would assume is like, if Cortex brand could make anything, what would it be? Oh, we would just fix email clients and to-do lists.
I feel like that's the way this question is sort of leading.
But that's not what I don't want to be in that world. I have no interest in making software or being a part of a team that makes software. Like, I don't want to do that.
You know what has even more uncertain roadmaps effort amounts and time frames than physical products, software, right? It's like, the variance on that is very high.
Even with software, even if I was in charge of a software development team, right, the Cortex brand software development team, I would still never be completely happy with what is made because both of us are so particular about software. Like,
yes,
you would never be happy.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah, I can imagine. Let's say Cortex brand was doing an email client. Well, it would end up that it would have to make 2 email clients. I think we both know this. Yes, it's just like this is the way it would have to be. And then like what have we done here? What hath we wrought?
Right, because that's an interesting point actually. Because when you look at the theme system, we created something that could work for both of us and therefore everyone, right?
Yeah.
So it's effectively devoid of too much constraints. It's just a system that you can put your own system into. You can't do that with apps.
I would phrase it the opposite way. It's not that it's devoid of constraints. It's actually that physical products are more constrained, and therefore the planes of possible disagreement do not stretch toward infinity in every direction the way software products do.
But my point was more that like a system that we have created is a framework system. You can't create an email system which is so open that people could do whatever they wanted with it. It would never work.
Yeah.
My answer for this question is a backpack. That is a future goal in my mind for Cortex brand, is to make a backpack. But that is I have looked into it at a very cursory level. It is incredibly complicated to do that.
Yeah.
So one day, hopefully, that is something I would like to make, but we're very far away from that. Like, because I don't even have any ideas, right, as to like, what would I want to make a backpack look like to make it unique?
Yeah. Backpack is a really good one for if we could make anything without difficulty. That's a good answer to that question. Backpacks are hard. Backpacks are really hard.
It's a million little decisions.
Yeah,
that goes into making a product like that, and I just don't think I have any insight into it at the moment.
Yeah.
Michael asks, what is a good destination or accommodation traits to consider when looking at planning a greatcation? I just watched a documentary on Netflix, which I really recommend. Could potentially be a Cortex movie club in the future. It's a 3-part documentary about Bill Gates called Inside Bill's Brain, I think it's called.
Oh, yeah. The trailer for that looked really interesting.
He does this.
Oh, he does. He takes vacations?
They're called Think Weeks.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
You've probably heard of this
I think I've heard about that.
Yeah, because he used to do this when he was even at Microsoft. He would take a bunch of books and
this
he'd go
is like
to this
the
cabin
memo.
that he owns, and he's gone for a week.
What was it called? Like the Halloween memo or something? Yeah. This sounds sort of familiar in the Microsoft lore of changing the company after spending some time away from it. That's okay. So he takes vacations.
Yeah, but also this is a very interesting documentary. You should watch it and tell me what you think of it, just in general. Maybe we could talk about it in the future. But I really did like it.
Yeah, we'll put that on the list for the Cortex
Movie Club
documentary club. Yeah. Okay, cool.
What would you recommend for somebody who's thinking about a greatcation? What are the things that they should consider?
Okay, listen. There's many things that you're probably thinking of if you're tempted by a greatcation. But the thing that you should really spend a lot of time looking at is go to reviews for whatever hotel that you're thinking about and look very closely at the tables and chairs that are available in the place that you're going to. But this is the thing that you're not thinking about. But if your greatcation is a success, ideally you're going to be spending a lot of time working. And you're probably not going to be able to bring your comfy office chair with you. And so, if a hotel looks like it has really terrible quality chairs, that is like a complete deal breaker. So I would actually rate that as like very high on the list of things that you want to consider, is that you need to have a space that looks like is in the hotel, ideally in your room where you can sit comfortably for long periods of time and get work done. And lots of hotels have obviously crappy chairs and super thin desks that are going to drive you crazy and sort of get in the way or just like cause you physical discomfort after long periods of time. So that is very high on the list of things that you want to be looking for. I would say probably after that, another thing that I consider is like I think about the food situation. So I want to have something like a supermarket or some kind of place where I can just go and stock up on a bunch of easy to eat food that I can then just keep in the room. That's like another thing that's on my radar because you're really just trying to maximize for compressing down my radius to be relatively small. I'm going to be focused on this work. Like what really matters, the work environment matters, the food situation matters because you also don't want to rely on room service, not just because it's expensive and because it tends not to be very good, but also because the variance in time of how long it will take to actually arrive is a giant, like, who knows, right? Like room service, like you don't want to be thinking, oh, I'm going to wait for the food to show up. And then like, how long is that? Is that 20 minutes? Is that an hour? Oh, okay. Let me give you a good food tip. Food tip for vacation.
It felt like the name of a new segment, right?
Okay. No, it's not a segment because I only have one piece of advice, which is
short run segment.
Yeah. So again, you're optimizing for like sustenance and just working. So what I like to bring with me is those little machines that will hard boil an egg that you can just pour some water in and you set a little timer. And you can usually buy them so they'll cook like 3 or 6 eggs at once. And this is just a great thing to have in the room because eggs don't need to be refrigerated if you can't count on a refrigerator in a hotel room. So you can just like go to the supermarket, buy a bunch of eggs, leave them there, have this little thing which will hard boil them. And that is like incredibly reliable sustenance for just working. So yeah, like you can't count on a refrigerator. And that's like just a very easy, like high quality food that's also very quick to prepare and minimum hassle. I would say maybe like the last thing. So yeah, chairs, food, and like a space nearby to maybe go walking that's convenient. Like a park or just some sort of area to be able to take a walk and take like a little bit of a break or mull over whatever it is you're working on. So those are my tips for planning your vacations. And I think everybody should try to do them if they possibly can, if you've got some serious work. You know, like I said, I just used to do it on the weekend if like I really want to get through a thing, take a weekend, focus on the project that's important to you, and then like come back to your regular life. So those are my tips of what you should look for.
I think whilst I have not done this as much as you, I have added holidays to the end of some trips that I've taken in the past, right? Like I go to a city for work, for a conference or whatever, and then I'll take an extra day or two to get a lot of stuff done before returning, right? Like it's catch-up time. And I've always found very valuable to be in a big city when doing that, because then you don't have to worry about anything, right? Like if I want to go get dinner, there's like a million restaurants to go to, right?
Yeah.
Or like you say, you want it to be a supermarket. There probably will be a supermarket near the hotel if you're staying in a big enough city. So I'm not saying that as a prerequisite, but that is a way to get a lot of the things that you're suggesting is to be in a city.
Yeah, I completely agree. And if you're on the newbie level for doing this kind of thing, totally bias it towards larger cities. Because then like the possibilities of things going wrong is dramatically reduced. I've been aware that now, like I feel like I'm on the much more pro end of this. I've been trying to seek out more and more isolated environments in which to do this kind of thing, but it's only because I feel like I'm pretty well prepared for the various ways in which things can go wrong. And now the increased isolation is more valuable than downside mitigation, because I feel like I have downside mitigation mostly covered at this stage.
On a kind of a secondary question comes from Colin. Colin asks, how do you find places to eat when you travel to a new city?
I don't know. I don't really think about this.
Cool. I have a great answer. Foursquare.
Okay.
I use Foursquare and still use Foursquare for this stuff.
Okay.
I find it to be a great resource. There are other, companies like this available, like Yelp, right, is one. But I've found that Foursquare has a better presence outside of America. So in the UK, in Europe, everywhere that I've been to, I use Foursquare. And I find that Foursquare ratings tend to match up with my own tastes. So I found it to be pretty valuable for me. So I still use Foursquare for that stuff. It's really great to help find new places to go, and also recommendation. But Google Maps has gotten pretty good at this stuff now too. Like you can search for a restaurant, there's all ratings and stuff like that. But I use Foursquare.
I feel like that must be what I just used in the past is like Google Maps or something. Like I just don't really think about this. But so you recommend Foursquare for just like I'm trying to find a place to eat?
I think any system that has aggregated user reviews is what you want to be looking for, in my opinion, because then you have a lot of data to build the star rating or whatever, or the score of the place that you want to go to. But I would recommend trying out a few different apps and seeing which audience meets your own taste. It seems like there are differences between the different services, and I found that like Foursquare is still hipster enough for me, good coffee recommendations and stuff from Foursquare.
Okay. All right. Well, I've downloaded that to give it a try.
It's also just still very good. It's kind of a funny thing. Like Foursquare, I think, are forgotten about a lot now because they're not the company that they used to be. But my understanding is like they still remain because they have such a huge database of points of interest that is like a thing that they can sell. Wasn't
Foursquare was the one where you were competing to be the mayor of your local Starbucks, right? That was Foursquare.
They still have that, but they split themselves into two applications, Foursquare and Swarm. I don't know why they ever did that. It was a mistake. But Swarm has all the check-in stuff, and Foursquare is just like a directory of places to go.
I'm just sitting here thinking, why am I so confused by this question? But I'm realizing that like my answer to the Graycation one should make it pretty clear. I'm not really looking for restaurants when I'm doing this sort of thing. I'm looking for a pack of eggs that I can boil and eat in my room alone.
Yeah, you see, this is where me and you take things slightly differently. Like, I consider going to like interesting places to eat as like a comfort for me in those environments.
Yes. This is also why I think just listener, in your mind, here are the two words. You can do a Graycation, or you can do a Hurley Day, right? Like a Hurley Day is very different experience, and Hurley Days can involve a nice restaurant.
Yeah, gray is much more kind of like it's gray, right? Like it's dark. There's a lot of color. There's some boiled eggs in the corner. That's kind of what you're getting over there. This episode is brought to you by Hover, one of our longest running sponsors. When you have that one big idea, where are you going to go? For a ton of people who are entrepreneurs, self-employed, business owners, have any kind of job which requires having a website, you're going to need to make that big leap, and Hover's a place that you can go to. Your business starts with a great domain name, and Hover has over 300 domain name extensions to choose from. No matter what you want to build, there is a domain name waiting for it, and they have excellent technical support to answer any questions you may have. And they're dedicated to getting you online, not upselling you. Hover has free Whois privacy so the bad guys don't get your information. They have a clean user experience, monthly sales on popular top-level domains, and so much more. It is easy to see why Hover is the popular choice for people starting businesses. It's my choice too. I have tons of domains of Hover. In fact, AskCortex.com, which was something I registered during this episode because Gray just blurted it out. I just went straight to Hover, typed it in, and it was available. Super easy for me to set up and really easy for me to forward to where I needed it to go. I buy domains all the time. I have some new projects that I'm working on for next year. I needed domains for them. I could type in some keywords, do some searches, and Hover gave me what I needed. I'm sure that, like me, you enjoy great user experiences, things that work straight out of the box, so I know you're going to appreciate Hover. Buy your domain today and start using it right away at hover.com/Cortex. And to get a 10% discount on all new purchases, just go to that URL, hover.com/Cortex. Make a name for yourself with Hover. Our thanks to Hover for their support of this show and Relay FM. Noit asks, have either of you ever used mechanical keyboards? Have you been tempted further down the rabbit hole of fancier keyboards? Noit believes that my love of pens could quite simply transpose to this obsession.
Oh, yeah, that's an interesting point. I can see that.
Very customizable. Yeah. There's a lot of really interesting makers in that space, like doing interesting keycaps and stuff.
Yeah, I wouldn't have thought of that, but yeah, I can see this being pen adjacent. Do you agree with that assessment?
I 100% agree with it. It's watches too, right? These are artisan things, right? Mm-hmm. I could very easily see myself getting down a mechanical keyboard customization rabbit hole. Can you imagine the colors of my keyboard if I did this?
I mean, yes, obviously you would have one of those rainbow keyboard boards for sure. Like 100%, it would be full of colors and rainbows. Do you have what keyboard do you use now? I actually realize I don't have any idea. Like, what are you using at your desk?
On my iMac, I use the Microsoft Sculpt ergonomic keyboard.
Oh yeah, that's a good one.
So it's the one that's kind of split in half with the hole down the middle. I found that to be a very comfortable keyboard. I've used it for like 5 or 6 years.
Yeah, I used that one for a long time. That is a nice keyboard. I find the keys are a little mushy. Whatever switches they use. At least
they're
at
mushy.
The time I was using. Okay.
I don't really care about the clickiness of keyboards.
Yeah.
Right? Like, it doesn't bother me. It's like this keyboard. What I don't write. I think that's like one of the key differences, right? Like, I do not write things. I respond to emails. I send tweets, right? Like, I don't compose thousands of word documents. So the quality of the keyboard is less of a concern for me, and it's typically another reason. So like the keyboard that I use the most is the Bridge keyboard, which is attached to my iPad Pro, and that just feels like a regular laptop keyboard.
Yeah.
I do have one of those Razer keyboards, which is, I believe it's a mechanical keyboard.
You got that for your gaming PC, right?
Yeah, but again, I never type with it. You know, I could see myself wanting to make a really nice keyboard, but I worry with mechanical keyboards about RSI stuff. That's why I've never really gone down that road. I'm worried that I would cause too much strain on my fingers.
Yeah, I think you're not wrong to be concerned about that. I think that is a legitimate concern with mechanical keyboards, as they do have higher resistance.
It's just I've noticed any time I change something, it will cause problems. So I don't change things, right? Like I try as little as possible to make changes to the input devices that I use.
Yeah. And I'd agree with that assessment and recommend to any of the listeners, like if your primary concern is RSI related, that Microsoft keyboard is like the number one no-brainer choice. Like you should get that one.
I use an older one. They have, which they don't make anymore. They made an interim one, which was not good. Recently, they have a new version of this keyboard, which looks more like my one, but I've not used it. I just wanted to state that.
Okay, yeah, because I've been out of that game for a little while. I'm probably thinking of whatever the older
You're
one was.
thinking of my one for sure, but we're like 2 revisions past that now.
Okay. All right. Well, I'll vouch that 2 revisions old one. There are probably people that are hoarding it all over the world, like the Model M keyboard and stuff.
Yeah, but they have a new one. It's now called, as you can imagine, the Surface ergonomic keyboard.
Right, of course.
And it has a different design. It is a much nicer, much more modern design, and looks way more like mine than the one that it replaced. But again, I've not used it. But the idea is the same, right? That like you're splitting the keyboard and trying to angle it in the middle a way which would be more comfortable to use. And I have found that to be the case. I've never had problems with this keyboard and my wrist and hand pain. Of course, I am using a Windows keyboard on a Mac. There are inherent weirdnesses with that, like the keys. So you have to kind of remap some of them.
Yeah, you can remap the keys.
But it's not difficult, but you do have to do it.
Yeah, just as like everybody in the world should remap their caps lock key to Control if they haven't already done that, and your life will be much better. Because you hit Control a million billion times. When do you hit caps lock? Never. No one ever uses that key.
But like you already have a Control key.
Yeah, but it's like the gesture for hitting Control with your pinky, if Control is caps lock, is way better than trying to reach down and hit Control. Like it's just a much more convenient thing to do.
It doesn't
Trust
matter
me.
if you type.
Trust
like
me. Listen, switch, listeners. Go into your keyboard settings, remap caps locks to Control. You'll thank me later. It's great.
Okay, but what if you need to caps lock? Then what do you do?
Nobody needs to caps lock. You never need it.
You just did it. If we were texting each other, you just caps locked when you said that. But you mechanical keyboards. Yay, nay?
Yeah, I haven't I'm just looking now. It's right
something horrific's happening.
I'm lifting up the keyboard. It's because I couldn't remember the company. It's WASD Keyboards.
Oh, WASD.
Yeah, WASD Keyboards.
Are they the one? Is that the company that makes the keyboard with no print on it?
The what?
Just to show how cool they are. There's a company that makes a keyboard. Yeah, it is the V3 mechanical keyboard. Like it's just all black.
Oh yeah, that's the keyboard that I have. Yeah, with nothing written on it. Yeah.
Are you being serious right now?
Yeah, that's my writing keyboard.
Ugh.
Okay, so listen, I've got two WASD keyboards.
Why'd you have to be that way?
Okay, well, I will explain to you why I have to be that way.
No.
So, one, I do like the mechanical ones. Like, I like the way it sounds when you're typing. Da 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 da. I forget what the number is. It's like the 110 key version.
On their website, I'm
What?
butting in now. You can change the color of every key independently.
Oh yeah. You have infinite options of customizability.
That's wild.
Them. Like you can do whatever you want. So, but their customizability is one of the reasons why I went with them. So the keyboard that's in front of me right now, as I'm talking to you,
are hitting and ruining the audio.
No, it's perfectly fine. Look, this is all part of it right now. We can't go into it, but I've changed my setup so that I'm recording to you on my iMac Pro. I'm recording to you now in a computer that I use a lot. So my keyboard here is again, I think 110, 108 key one, where I do have the separate arrow keys and page up and page down, but I don't have the full number.
It's 10 keyless, right?
What was that?
10 keyless. It's like one word.
Yes, 10 keyless. That's what it's called. Yes, that's the name of it.
I love that fake
cannot
word.
call that. Yeah. That's what I want, because I don't want the full-length keyboard. It's just too big. It takes up too much space. But I also have it, so the one that's in front of me most of the time is also printed in the Dvorak layout that I actually use.
Okay.
So this is one of like, oh, I can customize it this way. This is amazing.
Oh, you can buy wooden rests. How pretty.
Look, listen, do you hear this? This is the moment Myke is starting to get into keyboards.
Right, so you do have it printed then. It is printed for something.
No, you have to let me finish here though, right? So this is why I'm specifying. So the keyboard in front of me right now is also, you can pick different switches. They have different color names for the different kinds. I have maximum clicky because that's what you want during a podcast. What is the name of that one? I forget. People will know though. It's
cherry
blue
something.
Cherry something, whatever.
Cherry blue is what they call tactile click.
I think that's what it is. Okay. Yeah. Because again, when you're podcasting, what you want to go for, you want to get that tactile click. That's maximum podcast
the amount
experience.
Of edit. Just in the edit, just like, oh, there he goes again.
Yeah.
Pull that one out.
So that's great. Now, I know it always sounds crazy to listeners, but it is very important to me. So I do have, even in my home office setup, I have a very little like standing desk area where I've set up a separate laptop with an external screen that's just used for writing. So like nothing else is installed on that computer except my writing app, and it has a separate external keyboard that I use. That keyboard is another WASD keyboard, but I got the slightly less clicky keys because of RSI concerns. So it's a little bit easier to type on, when I'm like typing for hour 2 in a row. Like this is where it really does matter, and it does make a difference. Still satisfying click, but not as satisfying as podcasting keyboard. And then since ideologically the idea of this computer setup is I'm trying to remove every distraction that exists in the world, and I'm just focusing on writing. So I thought, why not remove even the printing on the keys? And so yes, that keyboard has no writing on it whatsoever. So that's my other keyboard there.
See, you're just showing off. You're just showing off.
What? Showing off that I know how to touch type like everybody should? I don't understand.
It's a show-off thing. No one knows this. We've been through this before, remember?
No, this is an aesthetic decision. It's an aesthetic decision. It's not a show-off thing because everybody should know how to touch type. Like, this should just be a thing. So,
right, but they don't.
Well, they should. They should know how to touch type.
But no one teaches you this anymore.
Okay, well, look, that's not my problem.
Right? You were taught. It's not fair. I am lost on this website, Gray. Like, badly right now. You can do everything.
Yes. I can already feel 3 shows from now, Mike's going to talk about his fancy keyboard.
No, I'm not going to do it.
Each keycap is going to be from handcrafted artisanal wood.
No, I'm not going to do it.
Filed down to precision by a guy with a mustache.
I'm just very impressed. Like, you can change the color of the keys and the color of the text.
Mm-hmm.
It's very impressive.
I think you can even upload your own custom image
be
up, for each of the keys. So if you want a particular font on each of the keys, you can do that kind of thing.
You know what? WSD keyboards, just email me. Let's talk, right? Like, we're just giving you some real promo here. Let's have a conversation. This is wild, what stuff that you can do with these keyboards. Very impressive.
Yeah. I mean, I will back them very strongly. Like, I've used these keyboards for a long time now, and I really like them. So, yeah.
It just, black on black.
Yeah. That's touch typing. That's the magic of touch typing.
Yeah. Brian asked, how does your caffeine usage change throughout the day, and what are your favorite caffeinated foods or drinks to consume? I mean, for me, there's one. It's coffee, right? Like, that's...
Yeah, I'm confused by the premise of this question. Like, I don't understand.
Okay, so I will see if I can break it down to the way that I understand this. What is your caffeine intake like these days?
Enormous. That's the answer.
Really?
Yeah.
So has it changed?
What do you mean?
I mean, over time, do you feel like your caffeine usage has increased?
I mean, it depends a little bit on where you're drawing that chart. If we're drawing it from the moment I was born, right? If that's the origin to now.
You're in a mood today.
No, I'm not. I'm not in a mood today. I just I look at a question like this and I think, how? Like, this is the same for the answer is coffee,
right? But the other thing you have to remember is, right,
okay,
you need to keep this stuff in mind. We have spoken about caffeine intake before.
Right.
So people are coming to this question knowing you in the past and what you did, right?
Okay. Yeah. So like I say, so what I feel like I want to answer here is a different question, which is that the answer to this question is like what everybody does. Everybody, you drink coffee, and as the day goes on, you drink less if it's just a normal day.
Okay.
That's the way that
But
works.
do you drink a lot of coffee though in a day?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. What is a lot? How much are we talking here? With drip coffee?
Yeah. Drip coffee. I don't know. I don't really want to measure it. All I can say is it's a lot. But the answer, I think the more interesting answer to this is not how does my caffeine use change throughout the day. It's really how does my caffeine use change throughout the year, which is a very different kind of question.
If that's the question you want to answer, let's answer that question.
Yeah, because it's okay, so I drink a lot of coffee because I do genuinely think that it's useful for the writing process to some extent. But if I'm at a conference, my coffee use goes from lots to the spice must flow levels of tremendous amounts of coffee. And I just this summer I was at a conference with a friend who got to see this firsthand, who was very used to what my normal level of coffee drinking is, and was like, "Whoa, this is a lot, dude." Because I just find that during conference time, it's very difficult for me. It requires a tremendous amount of focus, and I would say during conferences, I often drink what if was sustained would be medically concerning amounts of coffee. But then this sort of alternates with a lot of times during the summer, especially if I'm like I was this past summer doing some traveling where I'm largely on my own for a while, I will intentionally go for little periods where I don't drink any coffee whatsoever. So there's a phase of what's going on in my life. So conference time, coffee use goes through the roof. Traveling on my own time, very often coffee use will go down potentially to 0. And then just normal working days throughout the year, I would say coffee consumption is well above average. That's the way my coffee consumption looks.
Okay.
Now, how does your caffeine use change throughout the day, Myke?
Let me just ask one last question. Do you consume caffeine via any other means these days than coffee? Because I know at a point you were taking caffeine pills before you napped, right?
Yeah, I do that sometimes. Like if it's a busy work period, I still do the power nap thing of take a couple caffeine pills, take a nap, and wake up. Mm-hmm. And it really does help with that transition out of nap land, where a nap can really destroy your whole day if you do it wrong. And whenever I'm traveling, I always forget what the heck they're actually called, but I think about them as these substitute coffee drinks, these sort of caffeine and electrolyte flavored little drink tablet things. And I do have those while traveling as my I'm not able to get a cup of coffee, but I'm still in work mode and I need to get things done, and I always want to have a fallback with me.
Okay.
So yeah, those are the other things that I have for my drug of choice.
Yeah. And I know you made a video on this a long time ago, but just in general, your kind of feeling and what you know is caffeine is not bad for you in the amount that a human would consume it. That's kind of my memory of your video that you did about it.
Yeah, I would phrase it slightly differently.
Okay.
Like I would give a mental heuristic for how to think about stuff, which is people want to put stuff into categories, particularly with foods. They want to put things into categories of like good and bad. And what I think is you have to think in terms of effect size. Like everything that you do has an effect. What is the effect size? And for some things, coffee falls into this category. You have an enormous number of studies that have been done. And of course, if you have literally thousands of health studies on a substance, some of them are going to come up with negative correlations. Some of them are going to come up with positive correlations. But if you look at the whole sum of the field, what you can say pretty confidently is like if 1,000 papers have been done on what are the health effects of coffee, and they have not universally come to a strong conclusion that if there is a negative health side effect, it is very small, right? That's like, if you want to assume that there is a negative health side effect, the magnitude can't be large, right? Whereas you do like a different kind of study, the kind of classic one of smoking, right? The correlation between smoking and lung cancer is enormous. Like the effect size there is very large.
Yeah, to the point that you can say, well, if I start doing this, there is a very strong chance that I will have lung. Like you can say, if I start doing this, there is a very strong chance that this will happen. There is not a lot of things in this world where you can draw a cause and effect like that.
Yeah, and it's one of the reasons why smoking is used as an example, because I think it may be like one of the strongest correlations in health. Like what is the effect? But so that what that also means is like there's this concept in science of certainty, like how certain can you be about one thing causing another? And the stronger the effect is, the smaller the minimum required number of people that you can study before being reasonably confident about the effect. So that's also why the conclusion about coffee, it is interesting to see that the number of people involved in coffee studies is enormous. And so that's like what I'm trying to communicate here, that if there was a strong effect that existed, you should see it in the thousands and thousands and thousands of people who've been involved in coffee health studies. There's like an interesting flip side of this, which people don't like to hear. So like coffee drinkers love to hear, oh great, coffee doesn't have a negative downside. And like it's like, yes, that's like I can say that pretty confidently, but I also say the sentence, if there is a negative downside, it's small and diffuse throughout the population, and almost any other health choice you make in your life matters more. The flip side that people don't like to hear, and this is sort of where I don't even follow my own advice, is everything that I just said also applies to most studies about most vitamins. So people sort of think taking vitamins is good, but for almost all of them, it's the same issue of there's a huge amounts of studies over an enormous group of the population, and you get like maybe there are some very slight positive correlations, but there's no like really strong effect for most vitamin supplements that exist. But this is where I don't follow my own advice because I still take vitamins. I'm like, well, it can't hurt, right? I feel like my diet isn't good. Yeah. This is like diet insurance.
That's how I feel about them. The thing about coffee, though, and the downside is it's incredibly addictive and easy to get your hands on. And if you don't have it after usually drinking it, you will feel crap.
The previous conversation, I'm talking about the kinds of things that people worry about in terms of health concerns. Right? So like now we have a whole different conversation about, is coffee addictive? Oh, 100%. Like, yes, there is no doubt about this question whatsoever that it is addictive. And there's always like, there's one thing if I could go back in time, I would sort of change about that coffee video that I made. And it is where it feels like, oh, a younger man made this video. And I make this comment about like, coffee is a real physical addiction, not like those wimpy psychological addictions or something like that. It's like that's the one part of that video where I'm like, ooh, like current me cringes a little at that. And like, I would take that out now. I don't like that part.
You're a more enlightened being now.
It's like, it's not that I'm enlightened. It's that I've just come across enough stuff, which I think, the way I would phrase it is that younger me was more convinced of a meaningful difference between those two statements, and current me is much less convinced about there's a meaningful distinction to be commented on here. So I just throw that into like when we're talking about is coffee addictive. It's like, yes, 100%. There are well-studied physical reasons why it is addictive, but there's also just this like messy confusion about psychological addiction as well. And so, yeah, I will own up to the fact that I am addicted to coffee. But it's also why, like I mentioned before, I do like to do the thing of not having coffee for periods of time very intentionally. It's being like, yeah, it's fine. Like I can break this addiction and it's not a problem. But I do like to drink coffee because I'm very convinced that it does give me this little boost in writing sessions. Not like a huge difference. It's not a make or break deal, but I do think it adds like 5 to 7% of a kind of like sharpness when I'm writing. So that's why I do always like to have coffee when I'm working is like, I think that's really worth it. And then that just opens the door to like, well, once coffee's in your life a little, coffee's going to be in your life a lot. So that's my summation feelings about coffee.
I have 2 coffees a day, typically. They're espresso-based drinks, right? Like I make like latte type things. Mm-hmm. So it's twice a day.
Do you have one of those little latte machines?
Yeah, I've made you coffee from that machine.
Oh, yeah, that's right. That's right. Yeah, of course.
So I have 1 double espresso drink in the morning and then 1 other at a different time of the day, depending on what my work is like for the day.
Are you like timing it for afternoon work? Is that what you mean by that? Or
depends what I've got going on. But yes, It's like tactically deployed. It's like I have like a system. So like on Monday, I have my second coffee at 5 o'clock. Tuesday is variable. Wednesday is 5 o'clock. Tuesday is usually like around 3. Thursday depends on whether we're recording or not. So I had it today at like 4:30. So I kind of time it to the shows that I'm doing.
Oh, I just realized, because whenever we're recording, we do like the little pre-chat for the show, and then we always take a break. And I think I've never tuned into the language that you always use of, I'm going to make a coffee.
Yeah. It's the one.
Yeah, and I always say, like I'm going to go top up my coffee. And I think I've never really understood that, like, yes, Myke is going off to
I'm
have
out
his
there.
tactical coffee.
I'm grinding the beans. I'm foaming the milk. That's
also
whole thing.
why it takes you so long, because, it all makes sense now.
It's a multiple-minute process.
It all makes sense now, because what I'm doing is I'm just going into the kitchen where there exists pot 2 or 3 of coffee for the day and just pouring more into my cup. And that's, I'm always like, why does it take Myke so long? It's like, that's why. Right? He's making his second coffee.
I have, because again, people always ask, I have one of these machines in America. They're called Breville machines. In the UK, they're called Sage machines. It's the same machine, but it's just different branded. And I love it. Like we got it as a wedding present and I adore it. It's, look, it's a big thing in that it takes cleaning and maintenance and all that sort of stuff, but I really like being able to make coffee in this way at home. Like I was using AeroPress before, and that's perfectly fine. And I still use AeroPress whenever we're away or something. Like I might take like when we're going away for Christmas, I'll take an AeroPress and some pre-ground beans with me, and then I can do this like stuff at family homes and stuff. But I love that coffee, and I'm pretty happy with the fact that I mean, I've been drinking coffee kind of in this way, like seriously, for nearly 10 years. I still feel the effects of it, and I can still use it. Like I can still deploy it tactically in that way, and I'm pretty happy with the fact that I've been able to do that, because most people that I know are burned by it, essentially, right? Like you, right? Like you drink a lot of coffee, so you're impact to it is different now.
I was like,
right?
Burned by coffee. No, Myke, coffee is my friend. I just have to use my tactical deployment is a nuclear bomb of coffee during conference season, right? We have tactical deployments.
Right,
they're just at different levels, right?
Yeah.
You've got your little sniper shot of coffee, right? Like for one particular goal. And I'm like, oh no. Like
it's like a scorched earth coffee approach.
Yeah, that's my approach.